The House will come to order. Members, please register. Have all members registered? Have all members registered? A quorum is present. Members, the call of the House remains in force. The doorkeeper will lock the doors. The House and gallery, please rise for the invocation, which will be offered by Furman Carpenter, DPS chaplain.
Let us pray. Our most wonderful Father, thank you so much for blessing us and giving us this country, a country where free people can live. Father, we thank you for our great nation, and Father, help us to realize that without you, there is no real law and there is no real liberty. We ask you, Father, to please guide our lawmakers. We thank you for them. Father, thank you for them and their families. Father, we ask you to help them serve with faithfulness and integrity and humility. Father, help them to meet the challenges head on to those who create evil, Father, to do injustices, Father. Help us to meet them head on, Father. Help them to be your instruments, Father, to draw people together in helping us to be the great state of Texas. Father, we ask you to be with all of these works that they're doing, Father, all the special sessions, opportunities that come along, and help us to use that, Father, so we would shine as a bright light, that Texas would be a bright light, a beacon, Father, throughout Texas, throughout the United States, and throughout this great world. Thank you again, Father, for this time and this opportunity. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Chair recognizes Representative Orr to lead us in the pledges of allegiance to the United States and our Texas flag.
Good morning, members and friends. Please join me in our pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Members, the chair welcomes our visitors in the gallery today and advises our guests that the rules of the House strictly prohibit demonstrations or outbursts in the gallery. If there are demonstrations or outbursts of opposition or support in the gallery, the chair will order the Sergeant at Arms to clear the gallery under the House's constitutional authority to prevent obstruction of its proceedings. Members, the call of the House remains in force until HB 4 is passed on third reading. The doors to the chamber will remain locked until the call is expired. Under House rules, written permission from the Speaker is required to leave the chamber. I've issued a limited number of passes to leave the chamber temporarily today. Passes are available from the doorkeeper at the front entrance to the chamber and must be surrendered to the doorkeeper upon return to the chamber.
Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What legislation is on today's calendar?
House Bill 4.
House Bill 4. So today we are voting on, Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Today we are voting on new congressional maps then, and not flood relief. Has the body voted on flood relief this special session?
That is not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker.
So notice for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Why was House Bill 1, the flood relief bill that is the House's answer to the deadly July 4th flooding that killed over 135 people, not the first order of business of this special session for the Texas House?
Mr. that is not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Did the Speaker of this body make a commitment to the family of the victims of the flood to put flood relief first, make it a priority this special session?
Ms. Hinojosa, that is not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Hinojosa, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it correct that House Bill 1, the flood relief bill, has been voted out of committee and is ready to be debated on the floor of the Texas House?
Ms. Hinojosa, that business is not before the House at this time.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Hinojosa, for what purpose?
I move to suspend all necessary rules and the usual order of business in order to take up House Bill 1 immediately and put the lives and safety of children and Texans over politics.
You are not recognized for that purpose, and that motion would have to be made and filed with the clerk.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Hinojosa, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is there still a call on the House that compels the attendance of legislators and restricts our freedom?
There is a call in the House. I just announced that and explained that, Ms. Hinojosa.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Hinojosa, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Until when is the call on the House that compels our attendance in effect?
As I stated, to the entire body until House Bill 4 passes.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Trossler, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true that had the members of this House shown up and done their jobs in this first special session, we would have already passed critical flood relief legislation and provided financial relief and support for all of the impacted communities across the whole country, including mine?
Ms. Troxler, that is not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Troxler, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true that because we did not have quorum, because members of this body chose not to show up and do their jobs, the work of Texans has been delayed, not stopped, but delayed? And so that relief to those families is finally going to be done within these next 2 weeks because they have finally shown up to work.
Ms. Troxler, that is not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you.
Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, I have a message from the Senate at the door of the House.
Admit the messenger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm directed by the Senate to inform the House that the Senate has taken the following action. The Senate has passed the following measures. SB 2, Perry, relating to disaster preparedness, response, and recovery, requiring a license, authorizing fees. SB 3, Betancourt, relating to outdoor warning signs and flash flood area prone areas. SB 5, Huffman, relating to making supplemental appropriations for disaster relief and giving direction and adjustment authority regarding those appropriations. SB 6, Perry, relating to regulation of certain products, derived hemp, including consumable hemp products and hemp-derived cannabinoids contained in those products, requiring occupational licenses and registrations, imposing fees, creating criminal offenses, authorizing an administrative penalty. SB 8, Middleton, relating to the designation and use of certain spaces and facilities according to sex, authorizing a civil penalty and private civil right of action. SB 10, Betancourt, relating to the calculation of the voter approval tax rate for certain taxing units. SB 11, Parker, relating to an affirmative defense to prosecution for certain victims of trafficking of persons or compelling prostitution. SB 12, Hughes, relating to the duty of the Attorney General to prosecute criminal offenses prescribed by the election laws of this state. SB 13, Middleton, relating to the use of political subdivision of public funds for lobbying activities. SB 4, Perry, relating to the provision by political subdivisions of credits against impact fees to builders and developers for certain water conservation and reuse projects. SB 15, King, relating to certain files maintained by a law enforcement agency regarding certain employees of the agency. SB 16 West, relating to real property theft and real property fraud, establishing recording requirements for certain documents concerning real property, creating a criminal offense of real property theft and real property fraud, and establishing a statute of limitations, restitution, and certain procedures with respect to those offenses. SB 18 Zaffarini, relating to an exemption from the requirement to obtain a permit from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality for
The following bills on first reading and referral.
Mr. Speaker,
Not at this time. After first reading and referral, I'll recognize you.
HB number 19 by Anchia, relating to the real property theft and real property fraud, establishing recording requirements for certain documents concerning real property, creating criminal offenses in real property theft and real property fraud, and establishing statute of limitation, restitution, and certain procedures with respect to those offenses. Referred to the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB number 21 by Thompson, relating to the calculation of the penalty and interest incurred on a delinquent ad valorem tax. Referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB number 26 by Oliverson, relating to the funding of, contracting with, and employment for law enforcement agencies in certain counties. Referred to the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. HB number 27 by Harris, relating to the consideration by a groundwater conservation district of module available groundwater when issuing permits. For the Committee on Natural Resources. HB number 214 by Orr, relating to the designation and use of certain spaces and facilities according to sex, authorizing a civil penalty and private civil right of action. For the Committee on State Affairs. HB number 265 by Hull, relating to the governmental oversight of youth camps, including youth camp rules and the Youth Camp Advisory Committee. For the Committee on Public Health. SB number 2 by Perry, relating to the disaster preparedness, response, and recovery, requiring a license, authorizing fees. For the Committee on Disaster Preparedness and Flooding Select. SB number 3 by Betancourt, relating to the outdoor warning sirens in flash flood prone areas. For the Committee on Disaster Preparedness and Flooding Select. SB number 5 by Huffman, relating to making supplemental appropriations for disaster relief and giving direction and adjustment authority regarding those appropriations. For the Committee on Disaster Preparedness and Flooding Select. SB number 6 by Perry, relating to the regulation of certain products derived from hemp, including consumable hemp products and the hemp-derived cannabinoids contained in those products, requiring occupational licenses and registrations, imposing fees, creating criminal offenses, authorizing administrative penalty. For the Committee on Public Health. SB number 8 by Middleton, relating to the designation and use of certain spaces and facilities according to sex, authorizing a civil penalty and a private civil right of action. For the Committee on State Affairs. SB number 10 by Betancourt, relating to the calculation of the voter approval tax rate for certain taxing units. For the Committee on Ways and Means. SB number 11 by Parker, relating to the affirmative defense and prosecution for certain victims of trafficking of persons or compelling prostitution. For the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. SB number 12 by Hughes, relating to the duty of the Attorney General to prosecute criminal offenses prescribed by the election laws of the state. For the Committee on State Affairs. SB number 13 by Middleton, relating to the use by political subdivision of public funds for lobbying activities. For the Committee on State Affairs. SB number 14 by Perry, relating to the provision by political subdivision of credits against impact fees to builders and developers for certain water conservation and reuse projects. For the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. SB number 15 by King, relating to certain files maintained by law enforcement agencies regarding certain employees of the agency. For the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. SB number 16 by West, relating to the real property theft and real property fraud, establishing recording requirements for certain documents concerning real property, creating a criminal offense of real property theft and real property fraud, and establishing statute of limitations, restitution, and certain procedures with respect to those offenses. For the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. SB number 18 by Zaffarini, relating to an exemption from the requirement to obtain a permit from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality for certain dams or reservoirs operated and maintained for the purpose of erosion, floodwater, and sediment control. For the Committee on Disaster Preparedness and Flooding Select. SB number 34 by Huffman, relating to the testimony or the production of evidence before a House of the Legislature or a legislative committee. For the Committee on House Administration.
Ms. Morales-Shaw, for what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, good morning. Isn't it a lawful procedure to deny quorum that's embedded in the Texas Constitution and has been used since as early as 1870 by the minority party to deny majority overreach?
That is a hypothetical inquiry, and the chair does not respond to general questions about rules or procedure.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Morales-Shaw, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true that Governor Abbott declared an emergency on July 4th for the Kerr County floods?
That is not a parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Morales-Shaw, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
When a governor declares a disaster a state disaster, isn't it true that he also has the power to direct state funds to that disaster area to provide relief without a legislative session, without a special session, and without any action of the Texas legislature.
That is not a parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Dutton, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, the House is governed by a set of rules, is that right?
Yes.
And one of those rules has to do with
Mr. Dutton,
quorum.
for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
State your
Speaker.
inquiry, please.
One of the rules that we have relates to quorum, is that correct?
Hold on. Members, please take your conversations outside the rail. Mr. Dutton, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is a member allowed to use the rules in the House in terms of governing their conduct?
Mr. Dutton, the chair does not respond to either hypothetical inquiries or general questions about the rules of the House.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Dutton, state your inquiry.
Is one of the rules related to quorum requirements?
Mr. Dutton, as previously stated, the chair does not recognize or does not respond to general inquiries about the House rules.
Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Dutton, state your inquiry.
Does the Constitution trump our rules?
Mr. Dutton, the chair does not respond to general inquiries.
Well, specifically, Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Does the Constitution limit the ability of members to be arrested?
Again, Mr. Dutton, that is a general inquiry.
Well,
That does not relate to the business before the House.
well, it seems pretty specific to me, Mr. Speaker. Can parliamentary inquiry?
State your inquiry, Mr. Dutton.
Can you explain to me why that's general?
There is no item of business before the House, and your inquiry does not relate.
And I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, Mr. Speaker. There's no what?
There is no item of business before the House at this time, and your inquiry is not related to any item of business before the House.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Dutton, state your inquiry.
Is the only acceptable parliamentary inquiry related to a matter that's currently before the House?
That is correct.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Dutton, state your inquiry.
So any other parliamentary inquiry would be unacceptable.
General questions about the rules of the Constitution are not in order.
That's not my question, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Dutton, state your inquiry.
My question is simply this, is that unless a matter is before the House, there can be no parliamentary inquiry except the ones related to that matter.
That is correct.
Is that in the rules, Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Can you cite me the rule?
It is the explanatory note following Rule 1, Section 9.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
I don't have my rule book. Could you read the rule to us?
You're welcome to come down front and we'll get you a copy.
And Section 9, is that what you said, Mr. Rule 1, Section 9?
Rule 1, Section 9, explanatory note 4.
Explanatory note 4.
Page 10 of your manual.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
The explanatory notes govern the rules in this House?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's bullshit.
Ms.
Mr.
Hinojosa, for
Speaker.
what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
If I attempt to leave this chamber today without signing a permission slip, am I subject to arrest by the government?
As I stated today, no one will be able to leave the chamber without a permission slip.
Mr. Speaker,
So notice for what purpose?
parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Why is an arrest under the call of the House not prohibited by Article 3, Section 14 of the Texas Constitution that prohibits members from being arrested during the legislative session?
So notice that is a general question that the chair declines to answer.
Mr. Speaker,
So notice for what purpose?
if I attempt to leave this floor today with this call of the House on me, why am I not protected from arrest by Article 3, Section 14 of the Texas Constitution that prohibits the arrest of members during the legislative session?
That is a hypothetical and general question. As previously stated, the chair declines to answer those.
Mr. Speaker,
Ms. Hinojosa, for what purpose?
can I walk out right now of this House without being arrested, or am I protected by Article 3 of Section 14 of the Texas Constitution?
There are separate provisions under the Constitution that provide for maintaining and compelling a quorum. They are separate. Ms. Hinojosa, as previously stated under the call of the House, there are permission slips that you are welcome to take. Mr. Morgan, for what purpose?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true the members that just came back here and are upset about the rules actually voted for those rules?
That is not a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you.
Chair lays out on second reading House Bill 4.
HB number 4 by Hunter, relating to the composition of the districts for the...
Back up, members. Mr. Guerin for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House grant permission for all committees and subcommittees to meet while the House is in session through and including Monday, August 25th, pursuant to their committee postings. I move passage.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? There is objection. There is a record vote requested. Clerk, please ring the bell. Show Mr. Guerin voting aye, Mr. Hunter voting aye, Mr. Harris voting aye. Show Mr. McQueenie voting aye. Show Mr. King voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 92 ayes and 44 nays, the motion prevails. Chair lays out on second reading House Bill 4.
HB number 4 by Hunter, relating to the composition of the districts for the election of members of the United States House of Representatives from the state of Texas.
Chair recognizes Mr. Hunter to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I believe according to the rules, I will have 20 minutes. I'm going to give a short opening because many of you have not been involved, and I want you to know exactly what's happening. We are here today to take up the Congressional plan. This plan I'm about to lay out was introduced by myself on Monday, August 18th, and it was passed by the House Select Committee on Congressional Redistricting on August 18th. Due to the governor's proclamation, the House studied the current Texas congressional districts. This plan originated in the first called special session before the chamber lacked a quorum. Due to the available time, which we all need to remember, we're in 30-day special sessions. In the first called session, and I want all of you to know this, members, in the first called session, we held 3 public hearings. We were not required to hold those hearings. So 3 hearings were held for the public, no requirement for those hearings. All sessions, anyone was invited to register and testify. Arrangements were made for anyone to submit written comments. One session we allowed remote witness presentations. One session was held on Saturday, and one session was held after normal working hours. All members of the committee were offered the opportunity to state their views, question. Other interested of the members of the House were allowed to attend and participate. After the public hearings during the first call special, the committee held a 12-plus hour hearing to allow further testimony once the plan was introduced. All sessions were live streamed and recorded, and Red Apple was open for use. As well, at these hearings, we heard testimony from a number of members and witnesses, including Congress. At the outset, it's important to note that redistricting can be done at any point in time. Let me repeat that, members. Redistricting can be done at any point in time. And I want everybody to know this. You want transparency? Here's the U.S. Supreme Court legal transparency. The underlying goal of this plan is straightforward: improve Republican political performance. Now, when drawing congressional districts, we have to look at them a little different when it comes to population requirements. We have to draw districts with population as nearly equal as possible to the ideal district size. This is different than when you do state legislative districts. The ideal size for a congressional district is about 766,987. The plan before you meets the population requirements for one person, one vote under the U.S. Constitution. If somebody proposes an amendment, they will need to meet the same requirements. We are allowed to draw congressional districts on the basis of political performance as recognized by the U.S. Supreme Court in Rucho versus Common Cause. These districts were drawn primarily using political performance to guide the redrawing of districts. Also, the Fifth Circuit in Petaway versus Galveston indicates that the law has changed. The court held that Section 2 does not require us to draw coalition districts. So giving partisan political performance as an acceptable reason and clarification from these courts, we have redrawn the congressional map with that emphasis. Another important law is the Voting Rights Act. Although race cannot be the predominant factor in drawing maps, Section 2 of the Act prohibits enactment of any plan that restricts minority citizens from having an opportunity to elect their preferred candidate of choice if certain circumstances exist. This plan includes political considerations, public testimony, recognition of population growth, and recent changes in voter trends. Now let's talk about this map. 37 of the 38 congressional districts have changed to some degree. The primary changes are focused on only 5 districts for partisan purposes. It is important to note, please note, members, 4 of the 5 new districts are majority minority Hispanic, what we call CVAP districts. That's a citizen voting age population. Each of these newly drawn districts now trend Republican in political performance. While there's no guarantee of an electorate success, Republicans will now have an opportunity to potentially win these districts. The 5 new districts we have: CD9, 50.15%, what we call Hispanic citizen voting age population, that's HCVAP. CD28, which is approximately 86.72% HCVAP. CD32 remains a non-minority district. CD34, 71.93% HCVAP. CD35, 51.57% HCVAP. This also improves political performance for Republicans in districts CD2, 8, 9, 17, 22, 38. Some data points in comparison to 2021. In 2021, there were 9 Hispanic majority age districts. In this plan, there are 10 Hispanic majority age districts. In the 2021 plan, there were 7 Hispanic citizen voting age districts, and under this plan, there are 8. There are no black CVAP districts under the 2021 plan. In the proposed plan, there are 2 majority black CVAP districts. CD18, 50.71% black CVAP compared to 38.99% in 2021. CD30, 50.41% black CVAP, 46% in 2021. In the Harris County, Houston area, there are currently what they call 2 coalition districts and 1 Hispanic CVAP district. In the proposed plan, CD18 becomes a new black CVAP district, CD9 becomes a new HCVAP district, and CD29 becomes a majority Hispanic VAP district. That's voting age population, which should continue their political performance. CD9, 50.15% HCVAP. CD18, 50.71% black CVAP. CD29, 43.45 HCVAP and 32.69% black CVAP, all surrounding Republican districts to continue to perform for the Republicans. This is a good plan. I urge its adoption. But Mr. Speaker, members, according to the U.S. Supreme Court, you can use political performance. And that is what we've done. I'll answer questions.
Mr. Romero, for what purpose? Ms. Thompson, for what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, does the gentleman yield?
Gentleman yield for questions?
Yes.
Gentleman yields for questions.
Mr. Chairman, who decided that these should be changes made from the introduction version of this bill?
Who decided the plan?
Who decided that there should be changes made from the introduction version of the bill?
I do not know who decided, but it had been discussed since April that congressional redistricting could be an issue, especially with the new case law and the new population trends. And I made the decision that I would file this bill.
Mr. Chairman, when the first call session, special session, the committee produced a bill where they had indicated there would be 5 new congressional districts for Republicans. Subsequently thereto, a second special session was called. Upon meeting of the committee, there was a vote taken on a amended part of a bill that had been previously voted out on the first special session of this year. Who made a decision to amend the bill from the first call special session?
Me and the lawyers.
Pardon me?
Me and the lawyers.
And what was the rationale for the changes of you and the lawyers?
Well, if what we're talking about is there was a committee substitute that was adopted on Monday, it increased Republican political performance. Legally, I was told that it would follow the case law, and nobody was here for 18 days. And so my view is we're given every opportunity we can. Nobody met with me, nobody came in, and so I talked to the lawyers, and we increased Republican political performance, and we increased the map from where it was. So I would say me and the lawyers.
So you had to go in and look at precincts to do this, correct? You had to go in and look at precincts in order to make those changes.
I would say, Dean, that I visited with council, and they and their resources looked at the specifics.
And who made a decision on what precincts will go into that amended map? I think it was what, 2333?
Council.
Council and council alone? There was no input by you?
Well, I mean, I told them I wanted to increase Republican political performance, and I'm not involved in the specifics. And I asked, as everybody in here does when you hire a lawyer, this is my goal, can you accomplish it? And they did it, and I asked them to follow the law, follow Rucho, follow Petaway, and this was the map that was developed.
So what you're telling the House is that you and you alone made a decision to make those changes?
No, as I just said, I made the decision to look at this map. Can we increase Republican performance since nobody was around and that we had a walkout? They then went to work, came up, and increased the Republican performance.
So when did you make a decision that you needed to make a change in the map from the first special session to the second special session?
The walkout occurred August 3rd. It was probably a couple of days after that.
On August the 3rd, subsequently to that, didn't we have hearings? Or was that
No,
the last?
nobody was here. It was a quorum break. We couldn't do anything, couldn't meet, couldn't let the public have hearings. Nobody could meet with me. Nobody could provide an amendment. So we had to just do things on our own.
So there were no input. I think what you're telling me is there was no input by the speaker. There was no input by the lieutenant governor. There was only input by you and the person that you indicated helped you draw the changes, and you alone made a decision that there should be some changes to the map that was a part of the first special session.
That's not what I said. I said,
oh, I'm so sorry. What did you say then?
I said exactly what you know I said.
No, I don't know what you said.
Yes, I did. If you'd been here for 18 days, you would have known. Number one, I decided to take a look at this map to see if we could increase Republican performance. I can tell you, a lot of people wanted to increase Republican performance. I can't tell you everybody that has raised that issue. I went to the lawyers, said we have a plan, can we increase it, and would it be legal? They said they would look at it, came back and told me this plan is legal.
Well, based upon the testimony that I think that the committee held, the 3 hearings, based upon the testimony that we heard, based upon what was supposed to have been submitted as written testimony, it is my understanding that there was a 100-to-1 not to make changes in the maps. Am I missing something?
Yeah, you missed 88 Republican members that didn't get an opportunity as well either.
But they
Mind you held public hearings, Dean, that were not required. The chairman of the committee decided to include the public. But I'm glad he did. But just because certain groups come in, and if you remember, there was certainly a lot of publicity that I can't remember the source yet, but I think it'd be checked, that there were certain third-party organizations paying and getting field advisors to come into these hearings to take a political stance. So if they're going to use the political under Rucho, so can we.
But were the 88 members who are members of this body denied the right to come and testify before that committee?
No, but they've been here the whole time, and they have been wanting to move this. I'm just glad I'm able to get this particular plan. because it may get reviewed again.
Were their constituents denied the right to come and participate in the hearings?
What's that? I couldn't
Were
hear.
their constituents denied the right to participate in those hearings?
That I don't know, because I just presented the bill. I don't know.
Were their constituents denied the right to submit their opinion or testimony to the committee?
I don't think so, but again, I was just presenting the bill. That was not my function.
But you made the statement that they were not a part of it.
I didn't say they were not important. In fact, in the hearing, as you recall, I made a big statement that I thought they were important, and even though there was opposition, I was glad they came, and some of the information in this map came from those hearings. So I disagree with you 100%. I'm glad we did the hearings. I'm glad we got the input, and I'm glad that a lot of people submitted it in writing. So absolutely it was taken in. Just because somebody agrees or disagrees with me doesn't mean that I'm not going to listen. And in fact, I offered at the hearing for members to come visit with me and members to come talk with me. And if they needed to bring somebody in, that they could. I did hear from some Republicans.
Well, to agree and disagree is a part of our democratic process.
Absolutely.
Okay, and they did have an opportunity, if had they wanted to come.
Yes, I do agree that they have.
Mr. Chairman, let me draw your attention to Congressional District Number 9. I noticed in the Congressional District Number 9, in your amendment 2333, you discussed in committee that your map draws this to be a Hispanic majority district. Is that correct?
Are you talking about the bill that is right here today?
Yeah, I'm talking about that amendment that was voted out of committee.
Well, we didn't do an amendment. We did a committee substitute.
Well, a substitute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the number was 2333.
I think that's the map number is Plan C 2333.
Yeah, that's the one we own. That's what I'm talking about. And you indicated today that you all reconfigured that to be a Hispanic majority district, correct?
We said that Hispanic CVAP under the committee substitute would be 50.15%.
And you have said in your brief that the Latino population in Texas support Republicans.
That said that
in your brief.
In my brief.
Then you say that, I've heard you say that the Latinos tend to support Republicans?
Well, not me, but I certainly welcome all of them being a South Texan, and I do think political performance and trend is going that direction to support Republicans, absolutely. But I don't know what you mean. I don't think I said somebody preferred. I think there is a political performance that's showing preference to certain Republicans in different regions of the state based on everybody.
And are you talking about the racial polarization analysis?
Well, I don't know what you mean by racial polarization analysis. I know about data that was done by HCVAP, HVAP, Black CVAP, and Black VAP, which is a little bit different. That's what I'm relying on.
Well, this is analysis that is normally utilized when they're drawing to see what is the performance of different race. They're looking at dilution and inclusions and things of this nature. And they show that in CD9, the person that you pull in have more of a tendency to vote Democratic than Republican. And pulling in that percentage of Latinos and Congressional District 9 and new configured District 9 will show that if they are a part of that congressional district, that their voting power may be diluted. Are you aware of that?
I'm not real clear on that. Are you? I don't think there's a dilution. Political performance is what this is. CD9, the Hispanic CVAP, is 50.15%. It's a new Hispanic CVAP. The Liberty County is now in CD9. There does show in this CD Republican partisan performance. Previously, though, CD9 was not a majority of a single group. So now they are.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker,
Staunch for what purpose?
I move that the time be extended.
Members, you heard the motion. Is there objection? Chair is not so. There is objection. Members, that will require a record vote. Clerk, ring the bell. So Representative Hunter voting aye. So Mr. Vasut voting aye. Mr. Tinderholt voting aye. Mr. Alcott voting aye. Show the Speaker voting aye. Lopez voting aye. Toth voting aye. Swanson voting aye. Have all members voted? Ms. Schaffner voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? 136 ayes and 1 nay. The motion prevails.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
May I I know some of my colleagues, other colleagues have questions to ask you, but I want to continue asking maybe a little later. I'm gonna let some others ask questions.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Romero, for what purpose?
Does Jim yield for questions?
Gentleman yield for questions?
Yes.
Gentleman yields for questions.
Chairman Hunter, I'm a little troubled. I've never heard anyone say in this body, and you've certainly been here longer than I have, but for you to say that you're not required to have hearings, I understand that may be a fact, but I don't understand that to be Texan. I don't understand that to be something that we would not welcome opinions of the public. And yet we did hold 3 public hearings. So with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, when you say that this was just you and the lawyers, what would you tell any Texan? Because I believe every person that testified under oath. Is that correct?
That I don't know. I hope they did.
Well, if they registered to testify before any committee in this House, they do have to register under oath that what they say is true and correct. Is that correct?
I follow the House rules like you, but you're asking me a personal question. I don't run the committee. I'm sure Mr. Vasut did everything accurately, but you're asking me beyond my role.
And that's where I'm troubled, Mr. Chairman, is that that someone would come down, affirm that everything that they're going to say is true and correct, and then to hear now you say that they're not required, didn't have to happen, and that you did this with you and your lawyers and you gave them instructions, means to the public, they really don't have any reason to come to this great building that we serve in with so much history, because they won't be heard. But
I 100% disagree, and I get the right to respond. Number one, I 100% disagree with you. Number two, and you're not going to like this, but for 18 days, things could have happened. You all chose to walk out. To me, you damaged the process. You kept people away. You kept work from being done. Don't use that as an excuse to belabor this bill. 2, legally, and I'm talking legally, we didn't have to do hearings. I just said Chairman Vasut asked for hearings. I supported him on those hearings. I sat in a hearing in addition for 12 plus hours. I am glad we did hearings. And I also encouraged all members and anybody that they wanted to come visit with me. And sir, for 18 days, certain members did not. And so to come up here and say public don't matter, they absolutely matter. And by gosh, you're forgetting political performance. That political performance, Republicans do matter, and they're in this bill.
Well, let's talk about
and
political
U.S. Supreme
performance.
Court says we can do that.
Let's talk, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. As you know, the population growth in Texas has been, over the last 20 years, has been almost half of that has been Latino population growth. So, Mr. Chairman, did you do any analysis or review whether voting is racially polarized in Texas before, during, or after the drawing of this map? And if you did, can you tell me what districts of the new maps are located in areas where racially polarized voting exists?
Representative, I'm going to give you the answer that I gave in committee so I'm consistent. One, I worked with counsel, just like your opposition groups are working with counsel against this plan.
So you never asked counsel?
Let me finish. So counsel told me that they had checked everything legally, did everything analytically, and absolutely assured me this bill is proper form and legal. So if the polarization that you're asking about, I'm certain that they did all that analysis, but I relied on them. I don't have the specific knowledge.
So you're certain? That makes me feel comfortable that you might have directed them to include racially polarized voting. So what analysis of Latino voter preferences did you conduct before drafting any of the districts in this plan?
So what I just said is I asked council to look at increasing political performance and to follow all rules, regulations, laws to make sure that what was proposed was legal and proper. What they did specifically, I don't know.
So do you agree that racially polarized voting exists in Texas?
From a legal standpoint, I think that's a debatable in the courtroom, and I'm not able to tell you that now. Is race different in certain areas of the state and how people treat each other? Absolutely. But in this particular one, Representative, I would do everything I can to have lawyers draft it so it is proper and that it does do what is legal. So
that's somewhat vague, so I'm going to just dive a little deeper. You gave direction for the reasons that you gave, but I'm asking specifically, in giving those directions, and you said following the law, do you believe that they considered racially polarized voting?
Do I have personal knowledge? The answer is no. Do I believe that they checked every box, checked every law? The answer is yes. I have huge respect for the lawyers.
Mr. Chairman, does the Federal Voting Rights Act require the creation of any Latino majority congressional districts in Texas?
I do know that when you talk about coalition districts, which
That's
is
not my question, Mr. Chairman,
yes,
with all due respect.
Yes, it is. Disrespect, you're not letting me answer. I don't agree with your question. You said a mandate on Hispanic. That does impact coalition districts. It does impact the issue of majority. And the Fifth Circuit in Petaway says you're wrong. Now, number two, is there a specific requirement? 4 out of the 5 brand new congressional are Hispanic. 4 of the 5 are Hispanic majority.
Mr. Chairman, does the voting...
But if there's a requirement, I'd have to ask counsel.
So the answer to the next question, does the Federal Voting Rights Act require the creation of any black majority congressional district in Texas? And I believe your answer is you don't know.
No, I would do what you and 90% of the people on this floor that have lawyers that have created the lawyer annuity plan in redistricting. You all go to your lawyers to get them to give you a response. I go to my lawyer to get a response. So if there's a legal question, I would go to them and they would give me the information.
And I do believe that when I talk to my lawyers, I give them direction, clear direction. I don't say follow all the laws, especially given when we're talking about the population growth, the growth of our state and where it's come from. Mr. Chairman,
I disagree now, sir.
That wasn't a question.
No, you're not supposed to make statements. You make a statement, I get to respond. You just said you don't tell them to follow all the